Sabah everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the brand new Honor 70 5G. This smartphone is a mid-ranger, but it's featuring the best mid-ranger processor that we have to date. It's the 778G Plus from Qualcomm. Now, obviously pair that with a 1080p 120 frames per second refresh rate display, curved edges on both sides, as well as mirroring that on the back of the device. So there's a lot of things that are going for this device, and again, it's technically still a mid-ranger, but it's definitely punching above its class weight. So this is TK, this is the Honor 70, let's check it out. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So this is the actual box, pretty straightforward. We get the phone, a charging cable, USB-A to USB-C, a 66-watt charger that's included in the box, and of course we'll be able to charge up our battery here quite quickly. A free case, a clear case in the box, as well as obviously as just the box itself. So here we have it, the brand new Honor 70. Overall, we have here is a 4800 milliampere battery, again charged up by the 66-watt charger that's included in the box. As far as the cameras on the back, we have a 54 megapixel camera. That's going to be our image sensor, the primary camera sensor, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel basically depth camera. So for the most part, two cameras. On the front, we have a 32 megapixel camera. That's going to be the front facing camera for selfie images. No wireless charging on the back, and of course there's a few options as far as the colors that you're able to pick it up from. This one's actually not bad. I like it. It has the moniker Honor on it. On the left side, we have the power button and the volume rocker, and it's pretty straightforward. On the top, we have basically just a microphone. On the left side, it's pretty much a clean slate. There's not much here. We do see definitely that is a curved display. It's a 1080p panel, 120 hertz refresh rate, and of course curved on both the front and the back. Very nice design. Now on the bottom, we have the SIM tray, a microphone, USB-C, and a bottom firing speaker. One thing to mention though, that this device does not feature stereo speakers, so it is a mono experience built in on the bottom speaker. We have front-facing camera unlock, as well as the fact that we have a fingerprint sensor, so we'll have let's unlock and lock it again. And of course, fingerprint sensor is pretty straightforward. And what I love about it is obviously the wallpaper. As you notice, as I'm unlocking it, it actually just ever so nicely zooms in and keeps the wallpaper, as long as you have the same wallpaper on the lock screen and the home screen. As far as the display, we have a 6.67-inch display. It's both curved on the right and left at about 58 degrees, and of course we have a punch hole camera for the 32 megapixel camera. It is again an OLED panel, and of course 120 frames per second. The processor is the 778G. Let's go ahead and go straight into the settings tab. And as you can see right there, the Qualcomm 778G Plus. It is running Magic UI 6.1 on top of Android 12. And again, this is the FNE NX9, the Honor 70. And the model that I have has 8 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of internal storage. And there's going to be two configurations, an 8128 and an 8256, depending on the one that's available for you to pick up. As I mentioned to you guys, this is running the latest processor that we have on the market from the 7 series, the 778G Plus. We have access, of course, to dark mode, all the different toggles, wireless projection. There is no desktop experience on this, so you do want to keep that in mind. And if you do want to turn on 5G, you just need to turn on the moniker here. If you don't, you can actually save a little bit of power on it. So for me in the US, if I actually just keep it up for you guys here, I'll let it basically connect to the top. And you can see here that on T-Mobile, I'm able to pick up actually 5G on it. Again, depending on the connection that you want, if you want, you can turn it on or you can keep it off. It definitely does help save some battery, but again, 4800 is actually a pretty decent sized battery. And charging it up with the 66-watt charger, definitely not going to take too long for us to get that running. Overall, everything is pretty straightforward. What I like about it though is the ability of customizing some of these options. Like I can actually enlarge this folder if I want to be able to enlarge it, or just basically shrink it back and make it small. I have it set up here with a large folder. Of course, we have Geekbench, speed testing, Netflix, Google Play services, of course, preloaded on this device. As far as the Geekbench, let's go ahead and show you real quick. This is again the 778G. Let's go into history. And I was able to get 815 on the single core, 2927 on the multi-core, and I ran it a couple times, and it's actually pretty consistent overall on the experience. Now, being that this is not a US optimized device, it still actually performed quite well. 38.6 and 1.4 when I was running it on LTE, so you can definitely see here, US LTE band is what we were connected there. Overall, as we talked about it again, a beautiful panel, OLED, and of course, we are able to watch content on it, enjoy our content. But let's talk a little bit about the cameras on this device. The dual 50, well, the 54 and the 50 on the back are going to be the primary experience. On the front, the 32. Now, because we're running the 778G, which means essentially if I jump real quick into video mode, the best experience that we're going to be able to get on this is 4K 30 frames per second. There is no 4K 60. So that's going to be one of the limitations I want you guys to be aware of. And of course, front-facing experience is pretty much going to be very much the same. 1080p 60 frames per second is the best, and it is going to be limited by the fact of what we have with Magic UI. Now, I'm not sure why we don't have 4K 60 frames per second. We've seen other devices have that, but again, hopefully maybe something like that can come to us in the future. But other than that, I think we're pretty much straightforward. I mean, really, experience on this is pretty good. I have PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile installed, and I've been playing them, and we're run pretty well overall. Again, it's a gaming processor, and the experience is not going to disappoint. Let's do a real quick front-facing camera and back-facing camera experience on the brand new Honor 70. Starting off with the front-facing camera on the brand new Honor 70. This should be a pretty good example. This is a 1080p 60 frames per second video clip recorded on the front-facing camera. Again, we can go all the way to 4K on the main sensor on the back, but this should be a pretty good example of what does the audio and video sound and looks like on the Honor 70. Switching it over to the main sensor on the back, 4K 30 frames per second is going to be the best that we can record there. And this should be a pretty decent experience. Now, the good thing is because we are using a 50 and a 54 megapixel camera, we're able to shoot 4K 30 on both the ultra-wide and the standard focal length. So that helps us a little bit as far as flexibility. But again, this should be a pretty good example of audio and video on the brand new Honor 70. Okay, we're going to switch over now to do a quick audio test. Again, keep in mind, bottom firing speaker, no stereo speakers on this device. So we're going to go ahead and play the volume at 100%. This is Alex Quindo Jumbo by NCS Release. And of course, we're almost at the drop.
Jack it up.
Definitely not the loudest speaker that we have on the device, and of course, because it is a bottom firing speaker, that means you pretty much need to always hold it in this configuration. And essentially what it does is it provides the bounce directly into us, so it gives us the audio projected directly towards us. Now, as you saw there, gaming is not going to disappoint. The camera experience overall, I feel like it's still going to be pretty much more focused on the cameras on the back. Now, even though we have a high megapixel camera on the front, it's still somewhat limited. We still see this 1080p resolution video maximum. I'm not sure why, but again, I think that the cameras on the back are going to be your best performer. And as I'm showing you guys with some of those images that I'm sharing with you guys, some of them were taken back home in LA, or actually where I am right now recording this video. But by the time you actually see this video, I'm going to be in Berlin with Honor at attending IFA and going through some of the announcement going on there. So the overall experience, I'll probably say, is this. This device is definitely giving us a great bang for the buck. For the price that you're paying for it, you're getting a great performance on the processor, great performance on the charging on this device. We have curved edges. If you like that, this is definitely going to appeal to you. Typically at this price point, we usually don't see curved edges. We see those more on the flagship end. The design is very nice. The color, basically the colorway on the back looks really good. And I think, like I said, if there was a few things that maybe I want to be able to nitpick on this, I probably would have said stereo speakers should have been a standard thing in here, as well as maybe 4K 60 frames per second, at least on the cameras on the back. I do appreciate, though, that we have 4K 30 frames per second on both the primary and the ultra-wide camera. The third camera, for the most part, is really more of a depth sensor, so we're really pretty much running two cameras and a really good camera on the front. So let me know what you guys think of the Honor 70. I feel like this is a device that's trying to really give you a great bang for the buck, and Honor is really banking on this situation. There is also one thing I forgot to mention to you guys is we do have wireless projection that enables us to project the screen from this phone to any supporting device, like a display that allows us to cast to it, and this is definitely a very nice feature that's built into this device. There is no desktop experience here, so even though we have Magic UI 6.1 and Android 12, we don't have a desktop experience. I feel like they're keeping that one more for the, let's say, the Magic 4, and that's going to be something that you should expect. But at the end of the day, again, for the price point and the features, the Honor 70 will not disappoint. And of course, if you're concerned about the stereo speakers thing, of course, a pair of buds from Honor or any other manufacturer will definitely do the job good enough for you to be able to enjoy it and of course get the best content. The speaker does get loud enough, and again, if you actually just hold your hand and kind of almost cup it on the right side, it actually performs quite well. And for calls and so on, when you have it on the table, there's no issue there at all. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you to Honor for allowing me to check out the Honor 70 and allowing me to go to IFA with them as well to check out some of their other announcements. This is TK. I'll see you in the next one.